What do the rich buy that the poor don't even know is available for purchase? A while back, some guy on here was talking about his experience working as a sort of personnel manager for a billionaire and how things are just wildly different for them. The specific example he used was how things work when these people want to go on a trip and give any notice at all to their employees. What happens is that an advance team gets sent ahead by a few days to scope out the rented, bought location and report back exact dimensions for closet space, bar space, etc. People back at the home go through the clothing, jewelry, etc., and draw up a priority list which is sent to the advance team. The advance team then spends the next 2 days purchasing the list of items. Entire wardrobes, jewelry sets, makeup kits, bathing supplies, etc. Anything they cannot get not enough time, or is one of a kind like the family heirloom watch the rich dude wears every now and then, is relayed to the house team. The family's schedule is arranged such that the moment the family leaves the house and the day of travel, a whole team of people rushes through and packs up all the remaining items. Only after the family leaves, you wouldn't want to deny them access to their items for even a few seconds, which are sent ahead to the airport while the family has a lunch or something somewhere. Upon landing, their luggage takes one route direct, and the family takes a similarly indirect route, unless otherwise directed, such that by the time they get to the location all of their items are not just unpacked but in their proper organized locations and ready for use without any of the advance team ever being visible to the family. What happens when the family leaves the location? The same situation in reverse, but quite frequently all of the repurchased items are just disposed of in some method. It's just easier, if not cheaper, to rebuy them each time the family goes somewhere if they aren't traveling to too many different locations in quick succession. You can rent celebrities for your private events. Not just musicians, but bona fide actors and actresses. Super rich guy in Bel Air used to host his kid's birthday party in late October, so they went all out for a Halloween-themed party. Everyone at the kids' school was invited, plus their own friends. Each year they'd hire some fantastic athlete to appear at the event. One year it was Tony Hawk, another year it was some Olympic gold medal gymnastic winners. The one that threw me was when they hired Demi Moore, Anthony Kiedis and Benicio del Toro to be guests at the party, to hang out and pretend they were friends with the kid. Mind you, this was a kid's Halloween party, set outside in a huge, massive garden, spread out over tennis courts and lawns, with games, buffets, dessert tables, taco stands, omelet stands, barbecue, pizza, burgers, etc. No booze, no one allowed inside. All the event staff were dressed in Halloween costumes. It was very cool. But it was sad to see Kiedis and del Toro sitting together commiserating. You could see the things we do for a paycheck look on their faces. They were at a kids' party FFS. Demi was very nice, she brought her little doggies. Private boarding gate at certain airports. Complete with showers, a spa, full bar, lounge, food, a bed, gym, sauna, etc. Total privacy. Your luggage is scanned and taken through security by a concierge, and you're driven to the plane in a BMW 8 Series. LAX has them now. Hello, yes, I would like to order some wealthiness just so I can have access to the private boarding gate. Yes, I'll hold, thank you. ETA, shut up, you guys. I'm on the phone. And thanks for the silver and the chuckles. I had a buddy who hired a driver, got him to get a chauffeur's license, and then made sure his Jaguar was long enough to meet criteria as a limo, and then he could legally drink and tea. He backseat. When I traveled with him internationally, someone met us at the door when we were dropped off, and they walked us to our plane. None of that customs, security stuff occurred. In Iowa, your vehicle doesn't have to meet length requirements. My husband worked with a guy whose wife got her chauffeur's license so he could drink in the back seat of their sedan. I don't see it on here, but the vast majority of financial products are out of reach for all but the rich. One reason the rich get richer is that they have access to investments that we've never heard of. Ever seen The Big Short? Why do you think Goldman Sachs took a week to correctly price drive Michael Burry's housing short position? Because they were securing that position for themselves and their clients. Those financial instruments are so complicated and the regulation on them so Byzantine that it wouldn't surprise me if Goldman actually didn't do anything illegal, like they're allowed, at their discretion, to misprice an asset for a certain period of time. Probably under the guise of the assets being complicated to price, but really it's just a buffer for them to get an edge that regular people couldn't believe. Imagine going to a horse race and being able to bet on the horses near the end of the race. Rich people get that. Actual smart homes. The Alexa, Google Home market is bringing it more mainstream, but for decades the wealthy elite have had smart home functionality through companies like Crestron. The controls go far beyond controlling your lights and thermostat, and integrate with more technologies. Goddamn Crestron brings back nightmares from my AV Tech days in college. Everyone knows about mega yachts, but the very rich also enjoy their own trains, or at the very least private super luxe. Urias train cars. With their budgets, it isn't expensive to rent space on freight lines and an engine, assuming they don't own their own. Sometimes a group of friends will hook their private cars together and motor around a continent having a big party. Now I am imagining some fat cat in his luxury train car between a bunch of loads of coal and some hobos in an empty boxcar. Pet cloning. Ex-boss was getting his dog cloned for $100,000. Oh, I've heard of this. There's a company in Texas that does it kinda regularly apparently now. $25,000 for a cat, $50,000 for a dog. It's something like a $1 2K deposit just for them to send your vet the kit to obtain biosamples and to store the material. You pay the rest of it whenever you're ready to clone your critter. Edit, the company is called Biogen if anyone's curious. Specialized household staff. When someone is truly mega rich, running their household takes the same complexity as running a small to mid-size company, and management is skill. Led and compensated accordingly. Don't think butler, think head of operations at a luxury hotel. The staff that household managers oversee can be really specialized as well. For example, Larry Ellison has his own personal curator to oversee his collection of Asian art. They do things like advise on the purchase and sale of art in his collection, oversee storage and display of art housed on his property, oversee process of lending art for storage and display at museums. The curator will often have their own staff to conduct actual conservation work, art transport, art installation, etc. So if you've already got an in-house crew of 7 people focused on your art collection alone, imagine how big your entire household staff is. That's why you've got a household manager. Just here to say this is very accurate, and I have done consultation work for someone in this position in Canada. The home had more contemporary art per square inch than the MoMA. I asked the woman who ran the household if she had a favorite work from the very impressive collection. She told me deadpan, "Oh no, I hate contemporary art. Private performances with big name artists." I was on a yacht in the Virgin Islands and some mega yacht owner pretty close to us had Christina Aguilera flown in to perform for his guest on the mega yacht. We were close enough to see the performance, not close enough to pretend to be part of the party. I saw an interview with Penn from Penn and Teller talk about doing a private show on a yacht for one of the Microsoft guys. They paid to shut down their Vegas show for a week, flew Penn Teller and their crew to Asia, put them up for a week on a luxury yacht and had them do one show for their friends. There was a couple of big name bands on this cruise as well. Something they do that most people don't know about is buy entire libraries at once. My sister used to work at a bookstore, and told me someone came in and wanted to furnish their library with a library-size purchase of books. They just wanted cherry-picked bestsellers left to the discretion of the people working there. It sounded wild. Edit, this place is a wealth of knowledge, and I'm here for it. Had no idea you could buy books by the foot. What a bizarre idea. Some wealthy people also buy books as decoration, with no intent of reading most of them. They buy books from wholesalers by the linear foot, specifying how the books look on the shelves, size, color, material of spine, etc., without any regard for what the books actually are. They just need to fill wall space in library, office rooms in their homes, landing 747s in small airports. I grew up around Lexington, KY. The region is huge on horses, particularly thoroughbred horses. The entire city is surrounded by horse farms, and these farms breed some of the best racing horses in the world. The rich and famous will often come here to buy thoroughbreds to add to their breeding stock. One such person is a sheik from Dubai, I think, who owns his own private 747. Now the local airport isn't rated for 747s, and it's not legal to land one there unless it's an emergency. The sheik doesn't care though and lands his 747 there anyways. The airport fines him every time he does this, which he is totally fine with paying. I've been told that many of the upgrades to the airport over the years were almost entirely funded with money from those fines. In London, rich people figured out it was cheaper to just park on the streets illegally and just pay the fines every day than to pay for parking in the city. So the city started clamping cars, so the rich people started paying people to go and pay the fine for the car to be unclamped before they won. Ted to leave. Entire floors of hotels or multiple floors. Entire restaurants. Chefs from literally any restaurant in the world to cook for them, wherever they are. I saw all of those things done by a prince of Saudi Arabia. We estimated it cost him $50,000 just for the one private meal in our restaurant, given that he had the top 4 floors of our hotel booked for the hundreds of staff to take care of him, his wife and his 2 kids, plus likely some concubines, if I'm being honest. As someone in this part of the world, being rich equals the number of people who work for you. He paid $30,000 just to close our restaurant for one meal. Flew his favorite chef from New York to Orlando to cook for him, on his private jet, and then back again. Of course, it was likely the other private jet he had just for his staff, not for himself or his family. Make food our entire staff, all the kitchen staff, all the federal, state and local security and him, his wife and his 2 kids. I have posted the entire story somewhere else in the past, but I couldn't find it easily. I had a buddy who taught ski lessons to another Saudi prince's little kid and had some nearly unbelievable and yet similar details during his interactions with them. That kid had an entire team around him, or probably 10 staff plus vehicles, snowmobiles, a helicopter, and so on. I later met a guy who worked on an ultra-luxury 300-foot yacht and served Bill Gates and his wife, among other super-rich people. Their primary job was to operate without interacting with them, or at least as little as possible. This shows you, in some sense, that having people around you doing stuff you need to be done but doing it invisibly is another perk of being rich. Edit, added some details and additional stuff. Luxury ice cubes. Glacé Luxury Ice Co. produces perfectly square ice blocks for minimum dilution and maximum cooling. Hand-carved and completely clear, these cubes are sold in bags of 50 and each bag costs $325. That's some BS. How much a drink is cooled depends on how large of a surface area the ice cube has and is correlated to the rate at which the ice cube melts and thus dilutes the drink. Either you get minimum dilution by using spherical ice cubes, or maximum cooling by maximizing surface area. Both at the same time is just not a thing. Can confirm. I worked for a place where the CEO was very hands-on and would oftentimes fly to countries that were less than stable to sell the product. In case of kidnapping, we had insurance for him, for anyone else that traveled with him that might get grabbed, and contingency plans in place for what we needed to be doing and who to contact in case this happens. Human organs. Steve Jobs used his fortune to game the system. A quote from the article. Jobs couldn't pay for an organ, nor could he pay to cut the queue. But what someone with Jobs' resources could do, according to liver transplant surgeons and ethicists, is to use money and mobility to improve the odds, either by going to an area of the country where there are more organ donors, or b. Why signing up at multiple transplant centers. It's not for anybody but the rich. It's called multiple listing, a practice some would say is unethical, said Arthur Kaplan, co-chair of the United Nations Task Force on Organ Trafficking and chair of the Department of Medical Ethics at University of Pennsylvania.